At Disco Ben is starting this bad boy off. How big of an impact would Cena have on TNA's ratings?
The initial spike, through the roof. The long-term spike, not so much.
I would be curious because Cena for so many years has played a character that has not been geared towards adults, when TNA is clearly trying to gear themselves towards more of an adult demographic. As a result, I think you're right. Initially, there could be some interest. I mean, probably that first episode you'd see Cena on Impact, their ratings would probably almost double just because people would be curious to see what they would do with him. Probably within 3 months, they would be a little bit higher than they've been in the past, but I don't know how much of a true impact he would have. Hard to say. Probably have a lot in the short term, very little in the long term. If Cena disappeared from wrestling tomorrow, how would he be remembered?
As the gimmick that he is now. The straight shooter top guy who everybody was tired of.
He will be remembered as the top guy of a bad era, frankly. He will be remembered as a guy that some people just were never going to like no matter what. Some people only liked in certain capacities. Some people loved him regardless of good or bad. To me, I would remember him mostly as being the top guy of a bad era. He was a big fish in a small pond. That's the way I'd remember him. At Minty Russell, if you were a Cena fan, how would you handle or react the negativity directed towards him and his supporters? Depends. You as a Cena fan, how would you react to it?
Making the popular choice of who you like isn't. You don't go, oh, I like this guy because he's popular. No, you pick a guy because there's something about them that you connect with, that you find interesting. You don't just go, oh, I love that guy because everybody else loves that guy. You go, oh, I like this guy because he does this, and I like that.
The question is, how would I handle or react to it if I was a Cena fan? It depends. If it was something that was legit, then I would be the type of person that believes in using logic and reason. If it's something legit, then, I'm probably going to agree with it. Even if I still like the guy, if there's certain things that can't be denied, then they can't be denied. If it's something that's really, really stupid or dumb, then I probably would, try and defend him. At Macho Punks 555, do you think John Cena is the only human being on Earth that doesn't think his character has grown extremely stale?
Oh, Cena thinks his character's stale.
I think he does too. I firmly believe that. I think Vince McMahon is the only person on the face of this planet that doesn't think his character has gotten at least a little stale. Fans might have differing levels on the Cena boredom spectrum. Some may be very, very little to none. Others might be 100%, and then there's most everybody else is somewhere in between. I think Vince sits at that. He's not bored by him at all.
Or do you think Vince sits there and says, well, it's working?
It could be that too. Who knows? At W. Rain Foster, how much longer do you see Cena being in the business?
I'd say probably 4 or 5 years.
As a full-time performer, I would think 4 or 5 years. I could see him being involved in another 10 to 15 potentially, but in a slightly diminished role. I don't know if he's going to want to run full steam ahead for another 10 to 15 years. 5 years? Yes, I could see that. At _RuckFools_. What is John Cena's most underrated match and or feud? Underrated feud? Could be Taker back in 2003. Batista in 2010.
Yeah.
Underrated match.
I think his work with The Miz was a little underrated as well.
I suppose.
It's not like anybody's ever like, I really love that feud, but it was a good feud, and let's be honest, Miz did beat him at WrestleMania.
Underrated match of his. An underrated Cena match.
Well, definitely it has to be from this year of The Rock and John Cena. Because, I mean, it was two guys out there giving it all on the line.
I don't know. I'm going to respond to that. Underrated match of his probably would have to go with. Actually, him and Batista at WrestleMania 26. I thought that match was better than it got credit for, frankly.
I was using sarcasm, by the way.
I'm sure you were. You lost yourself in your own pool of sarcasm. What one John Cena match that if he would have lost would have done better for the company than him winning? I've got my answer. You got yours?
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay, go ahead.
Rock Cena, 2. Let Rock carry the belt another month.
Team Cena versus Team Nexus, SummerSlam 2010. At Mr. Benzie, if you were to rebook Cena's redemption storyline, should he have lost every pay-per-view match? Probably.
Probably, if you're doing a redemption, you gotta hit rock bottom.
Before you get built back up, yeah. You'd have had to do it in some differing ways, but yes, he should have went on a long losing streak. That's part of a redemption storyline. At the Deluxe Man asked, do you think WWE is using Make-A-Wish, Be a Star, and Susan G. Komen breast cancer to force fans to like Cena?
I don't think they're necessarily using those for that purpose, but I think the fact that they're partnering with those places and stuff, they kind of are like, well, we got to use our top guy.
I think they want to emphasize more so that look at all the good we're doing for charity and look for this. Look, I will admit, that's the way it fucking can come across. Is that they want us to get this? They want to get the sympathy face love for Cena because he does all his good work for this and that and every fucking thing else in the entire world. Okay, I'll put it to you this way: the best equation or the best comparison I can make is this. Lance Armstrong did a tremendous amount of good with his Livestrong Foundation, but he was also a piece of shit as a person. But even if he's a piece of shit as a person, does that necessarily outweigh all of the good that came from him and his cheating and the Livestrong Foundation? I mean, it's an interesting dilemma, and the point I'm getting at here is that with Cena, it's like, just because he does this charitable work that the WWE is paying him to do doesn't make him a good guy. But if his profile helps bring more attention to these causes, is that a bad thing either?
And like with Make-A-Wish, who's to say these kids aren't asking for Cena, so at least they're getting what they're asking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more so the WWE trying to say, hey, look at us, we're wholesome, we're family.
And let's be
They
honest,
just use Cena as the
let's be honest,
representation.
with the Be a Star, they more so focus on guys like Sheamus and stuff.
Yeah, but to be a star, they do this. At 86 Colt, in your opinion, has Cena ever been a good worker? And if so, when? Worker is something that us in this internet community, sometimes we don't get the fucking meaning of. To me, worker, and whether or not somebody's a good worker or not, is more so, I think, a term that should stay inside of the wrestling business in terms of how hard somebody works in the ring. I think there's sometimes a separation between how fans view the term worker and how people in the business view him as a worker. Then people in the business might say, view him as a good worker because he works hard. He goes out there, tells a good story. He works to the crowd. But to us, a good worker should be, can somebody get the proper reaction out of us and get us involved and interested in the match where we pop at the right time, which is at the finish. To me, that's a good worker.
Right.
So if I sat there and said Hulk Hogan was a great worker and Bret Hart was a great worker, but they did it in two entirely different ways from a fan standpoint, Shawn Michaels in another entirely great way. Those are great workers, great performers, but maybe not in the sense of going out there and doing the fucking 100 flips that a lot of people like. At Larrikin Nerd, would John Cena's rapper gimmick have been over in the Attitude Era, and would he have stayed in the mid-card?
I think his rapper gimmick would have got over in the Attitude Era.
Maybe huge.
Yeah. It would have pushed him out of that mid-card if he was stuck in the mid-card.
Yeah. Imagine battles with him on the mic and back at 10, 12 years ago, him in Austin or him in The Rock or him in Triple H. Oh, yeah. I think actually that rapper gimmick might have put him in the main event as opposed to the mid-card. At Willie_Haywood3, what's Cena's best and worst match? Best and worst match. His best match might be against CM Punk at Money in the Bank
Right,
2011.
that's what I was going to say.
Worst match. It may not, to me, it may not be technically his worst match in terms of some components, but I'm sorry, man. That match against fucking Rock at WrestleMania 29, because of the moment, because of the spot, position on the card, the building.
It didn't live up to what it needed to be.
It was terrible, frankly. I mean, just being honest. At Real Ziggy 23, hey guys, what's been your favorite Cena match in the last 10 years? You like most of the matches he had with Edge.
Right before Edge won the belt and then watched that celebration. But I was rooting for Edge the whole time. But
I would say my favorite Cena match still might be his debut match against Angle on SmackDown 2002. Otherwise, his match against Taker on pay-per-view in 2003. At Orton G. Armstrong, what's your favorite John Cena match from Mania and why? Probably either against Batista at 26 or against Brock at 28.
I'll go with Batista.
Okay. At AA0707, who will face John Cena at WrestleMania 30? Let's throw out 3 names really quickly.
Undertaker.
Potentially, yes. Could be Brock.
Yeah, it could be.
But I would say he's the least likely. It's either going to be Taker or it's going to be somebody younger. Depends on the positioning on the card at the time. Maybe Dean Ambrose.
Maybe.
Would be 3 people that come to mind. At Caleb is God, what would you do if you saw Cena playing baseball with Michael Jordan and Jeff Jarrett and Dino Bravo? Come kick you in your fucking nuts.
Michael Jordan played baseball?
No! He didn't! The fucking lies.
I know the other guys don't play baseball, and Dino Bravo can't play baseball because he's dead.
That's correct. Thank you for reminding me. You made me feel better now.
So that'd be kind of cool to see a ghost swinging a bat.
But I would kick you in the nuts first. That would be the reaction Caleb has got. Fuck that. At Team Boy TV ends this Q&A oh so mercifully by asking, how dope was Cena Thugonomics' performance at the Raw Goes Old School episode? Fucking beautiful shit.
It was great. It was refreshing. It was different Cena.
And it wasn't that long. I think it was like 4 minutes,
Yeah.
if that. It was, I'm coming out. I'm doing my shit. I'm getting the fuck out. And that was that. And that's how you kicked off the show. Man, that start of that Raw was refreshing as shit. I personally loved it. That shit was... Does he need to... Would going back to that Thugonomics gimmick be the right thing for him to do?
At this point, I don't think so, because I think people would just be like, oh, he's just trying to redo something he already did. He needs something different.
I think the biggest thing with Cena to me is just my opinion is not so much of the fact that he's a good guy, even though a lot of times internet fans do get that stigma, sometimes legitimately so. We get that stigma of only liking heels, and sometimes it's because of the way the baby faces are booked. Maybe if he did a better job of telling a story in some of his matches where he's getting the shit kicked out of him, he just bumps up out of nowhere. No, you actually build and progress to that moment. Even Ultimate Warrior understood that. You know, actually making him look vulnerable, actually making him look like he's being threatened.
If he has an injury, him actually playing up the injury and not running around right afterwards like, oh, it's okay.
I'll put it to you this way. The Bulls in 95-96, they won 72 games. They still lost 10 of them. The 96-97 Bulls won 69 games. They still lost 13 of them in the regular season. Now, they ended up, you know, both of those years, and in 98, they won, 64 games. They still lost 18 of them. You know, all 3 of those years, they won the title. But the point is they didn't win every single fucking game.
Right.
Cena can lose some matches, and this whole kind of notion that having your top guy lose matches is bad. No, I think in some ways it makes him more appealing to us. It makes him more refreshing.
It makes it so that you can't predict what's going to happen every goddamn match.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thanks again to all of you that submitted your questions for this Q&A, that watched this Q&A. We can tell you that the subject for the next Q&A is going to be announced this week on our Raw review. So you'll want to check that out. I think it will.
God damn it. We're professionals.